Hi everyone, my name is Phil and welcome to Phil Does 3D. I'm a multimedia and 3D artist and I stream live on Twitch on Mondays and Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific time in the US, 10 a.m. in Australia or 1 a.m. in the UK. Remember though, if you miss the live streams, you can catch up with the premiere event streams, which are on a Friday and Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific time in the US, 7 a.m. in Australia or 10 p.m. in the UK. So we are going to continue working on an Art Deco building cinematic we're creating in the Unreal Engine 4.19.2. We started setting up our cameras yesterday. We've done all of our interior modeling, texturing, placement, all that sort of stuff. And now we're on to the final stage where we're setting up our cameras before I export out the images that I'm then going to bring into Adobe Premiere Pro to create the final cinematic with music and a few simple sound effects. So if I jump into Unreal, yesterday we were working on our cameras. We're going to start our cinematic at this front gate before we move down the garden path to get to the Art Deco building in the background in here. And then we're going to enter the building and then exit the building again. That's sort of the plan of action for the cinematic anyway. So I forgot to actually tell you guys yesterday that I did do a final production quality lighting rebuild while I was away, or when I got back from being away I should say. And I never actually showed you guys what the different shots look like or what the what the environment looks like now that the final lighting build was done. So let's have a look at that. So I'm just going to go full screen on this viewport and we're going to start jumping through the different cameras. Just to give you guys a look at the interior before we get to it with our cameras, because it'll be a while before we get to the building. We're going to go all the way down the garden path first. And I'm going to set up probably more cameras than I'm going to use. And that way it'll give me a good library of shots that I can use to actually incorporate in our cinematic. Crosswind says, nice, that pathway is looking pretty enchantable. Thank you, Crosswind. I'm glad you like it. Yep, we're going to start at the main gate and work our way down the garden path until we get to our building here. But I just did want to go through and show you guys a couple of shots of the interior of the building now that the final lighting build was done, before we jump back to that main gate and start setting up a few more cameras. Like I said, I am going to be using more cameras than I'm probably going to end up using. Why not? They should be fairly quick to render out because it's a real-time game engine. And that gives me a much more variety of how I can do my different shots within Adobe Premiere Pro when we put it all together. It was our Buddha that we worked on just before I left for break over here. Our main ballroom. I don't know really what you'd call this room, to be honest. It's our main entry. That's one of our little side rooms. Again, you guys that have been watching me for a while, this will not be new to you. But like I said, the lighting quality now is finalized. So our dining room, which is downstairs. Smurfy Barbecue, good to see you. I hope you're well. Always good to see you guys and girls. Yes, so I just wanted to quickly go through the different bookmarks here to show you what the rooms look like now that the final lighting build was done. The observant among you will notice that I've added actually a couple more reflection captures in a couple of the rooms. This one here and this one here. This reflection capture is just capturing the entire room. This reflection capture is a spherical reflection capture and it's really only for the chandelier here, so we can get some really nice looking glass effect refraction happening here for our crystals that are hanging off the chandelier. And this reflection capture is really for the I'm not sure what happened there. We'll have to go back to that. Hang on. There we go. Is really for the glass that's sitting on the table. So that reflection capture is really only encompassing that cognac bottle and that that glass vase there. So just localized reflection captures for things that I want higher quality reflection on, like glass. Okay, let's jump back to the front where we're continuing working on our cameras. So yes, yesterday we finished up with, we created 2 cameras yesterday. The first one, which was the eagle flying in and flying over the gate. And then we created the second one, which is just a pan up to the gate so that we can get a little bit more, we can see where we're heading with our fly through anyway. So we're closing in on the gate itself. And again, I'm going to be doing 10-second shots on every camera. And that's simply because even though I'm probably not going to use a full 10-second shot, it gives me a good range that I can then cut back inside of Adobe Premiere to paste the cinematic to the music track. And the music track uses 3 separate music tracks. There's one for the entry here and down the garden path, one music track. A second different music track will then blend in when we get to the main pond, and then a third music track will blend in when we start to enter the building. I just wanted to pace it a little bit more in a more interesting way when we make the cinematic, which is why I chose 3 different music tracks for each section of the cinematic. It'll become more clear when we actually start putting it together in Premiere though. The other thing I wanted to point out too was, you remember yesterday, guys, I was saying that there was that setting in the post-process volume that I couldn't find, which is going to render out our images in 8K, shrink them down to 4K before it saves that image onto the disk. If we jump into the post-process volume, I just want to point out that setting so that you guys know where it is if you want to take advantage of it. It's under rendering features, miscellaneous, and it's this one here. And the reason I couldn't find it yesterday is because when I upgraded the project from 4.18 to 4.19, it looks like Epic have disabled that feature here. So I have to turn it back on and set it to 200. So what that is doing is, it's, like I said, going to render out at 8K, shrink it down to 4K, and then save it to disk. So basically we're getting 8K's value in 4K video. And it's just called screen percentage, I think. Let me just pull that over so we can see exactly what it's called. Yeah, screen percentage. Just as well I checked, because like I said, it looks like when I updated the version of the engine, it disabled that for me, which is not good. Naughty Epic Games, naughty. So yep, that's the setting there. You can go higher than 200, you could go way, way, way up, but I think 200. So 8K is probably going to be high enough for us. All right. Anything else? What else did I want to say? Oh, that's right. Remember too, yesterday we were having a problem when I was saving the project, that the camera was becoming unattached from the camera rig, and I was saying it might be a bug in the engine. I was incorrect. Epic Games have done nothing wrong. It was user error, not engine error. And the reason that happened was because I added each of these separately to my sequencer. To actually, what you should do is you should select both of them and then add them to the sequencer. So I didn't do that. That was the reason our camera was becoming unattached from our camera rig. So that's all fixed. And I just wanted to point out it was no problem with the engine, no bug in the engine. It was user error. That was the problem. All right. Enough with all of that. Let's make a new camera and set up a new shot. I'm going to go into my cinematics folder. I'm going to duplicate this shot 2 and it's going to call it shot 3. Let's open that up. And I'm going to remove the, because it's a direct copy of the last camera, I'm going to remove the camera rig and the camera actor. So we can start with a nice blank project here. I'm also going to just give me a second here, guys. Let's see if that has gone from here. No, they're still there. Let's create a new cinematic camera. Again, I am working in cinematic quality, so you only ever work in this quality if you're creating a cinematic. Epic Games never suggest you turn it up this high if you're just making a game. But because we are making a cinematic, I've got it turned all the way up to max, but that is going to affect the speed here in my viewport. So if it looks a little bit stuttery, it's because everything is on max, 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 max. Let's add a new cinematic camera. I'm just going to, for this shot here, I'm going to use just a plain camera on its own, I think. Yeah. So I'm not going to be moving the camera forward, I'm only going to be moving it up and down. So let's pull in a new camera. In fact, I think what I'll do here is I won't use the camera this way. I might just add a camera in the cinematic itself, in the sequencer. Let's do that. And we can see our camera there, but I don't want to work in this viewport. I want to work in this one. If I can find my camera. Aha. It looks like what happened is when I added the camera, it switched my viewports around. So I'm going to go back in here, set that as my main camera here. I want to make sure I change my camera a little bit to match the others, and we're using a sensor height of 18 instead of 20 to give us a more letterbox look. There we go, it's better. Back to my normal viewport here and my camera viewport over here. You can see we get that nice depth of field happening here with our on our tree leaves. We'll look at that a little bit more in just a second. And let's set up our camera, shall we? What would be an interesting shot here? I just want a different angle on the gate from the other two camera shots, so I'm just going to play around and see if I can get a nice interesting looking shot. Maybe if we start our shot around about here. And then I think I'll move the camera, I'll just move the camera forward. And again, we're working with a 10-second shot, starting at 0. Let's go to the transform on the camera. Actually, we'll just select our camera and I'm just going to press the S key to add a keyframe. Alright, so we have our camera shot here looking at our gate from a different angle. I think with this camera, like I said, all I'll do is I'll move the camera forward. So I'm just going to pull up here. so I can see where my camera is. Let's move to, let's say we take it 5 seconds moving into the gate. Let's let the camera sit here for 2 seconds. So move it up to 2 seconds, and again press the S key to create a keyframe. That's good. It's created a keyframe in rotation, position and scale, or location, position and scale, rotation and scale I should say. So now we're at 2 seconds, so we've just set the camera here for 2 seconds but not moving. Then we'll move up to around about 8 seconds. I want to move the camera in, closer into the gate. How close do I want to get? Maybe about there. No, I did not want to move it that way. I'm just going to undo that movement. Let's do that one more time. I accidentally moved the camera when I didn't want to. Now, what am I moving here? Move our camera in. So let's center up our gate here a little bit. Hey Sniper Echo, good to see you, buddy. I hope you're well, Sniper. I hope everything's going good with your project. I'm still waiting to see that stuff you said you were going to show us soon. We're all waiting to see it, Sniper Echo. I'm going to frame this up so that the gate posts here are just in shot. If I framed it up so just the gate was in shot, it would look a bit weird. It wouldn't look as though... You may get lost as a viewer, but by keeping the posts there, it sort of helps center the viewer as to what's going on. Now let's press S to create some keys there. We can see our camera path there. I could have used a camera rig crane for this, but or a rail even, actually. Unnecessary when it's just one movement like that, I think, though. Apologies, that's all right, Sniper Echo. You get here when you can get here. It's okay. I'm all chilled and relaxed with my mod. You can, I know that you're busy, and I know everybody's busy, so it's good to see you. You're here now, though. That's the important thing. You missed the camera key. Okay, let me go over it just for you, Sniper Echo. Remember yesterday we were talking about rendering at 8K, shrinking to 4K. My apologies for guys that were here on time and heard this, but it is important and a useful tip for people if they do want to do a cinematic. We were saying that you can render at 8K or even bigger, and then the engine will shrink it to 4K before it makes your movie or saves your file out to disk. Good to hear, Sniper. And that is in the post-process volume settings. Again, it's under render features, miscellaneous, and it's called screen percentage. You enable that, and then you set your percentage that you want it to render higher at. So for instance, I'm rendering at 4K for our cinematic, so I set it to 200%, which means it will render at 8K. Render all the percentages, that's right. Crank it all the way up to 1000%. No reason you couldn't. I don't know. I guess law of diminishing returns, though, after a certain percentage, I think. It's just gonna slow the engine down as it renders your images out unnecessarily if you go to 1000%. You certainly could, though. But 200% will be fine for us. So render at 8K, shrinks down to 4K, and then saves off to disk. So that setting is in the post-process volume, so you will need to add a post-process volume. You should add one anyway. It's really useful to have. If you're making anything in Unreal. So a post-process volume also allows you to do custom LUT color correction, which is what we're doing here in this level. as well as have all these other really cool things that you can turn on and off, like motion blur and ambient occlusion and all that sort of stuff, all that goodness. So that's where that setting is. What else did I want to mention about? Oh, that's right, the cameras. It wasn't the fault of the engine. It was user error, my fault. Remember when we were saving out our scene, the camera was being unattached from the camera rig? And that was because I did not select both of these before I added it to Sequencer. I selected them individually, and that's what messed up. That was the problem. So if you want, if you don't want that problem to happen to you, make sure you select them both and then add them both at the same time to Sequencer, and that fixed the problem right up. All right, let's jump back into the cinematic viewport over here. I'm just going to select my camera again. Back in this viewport, and I think we'll hold here for 2 seconds. Actually, how long have we got here? We've got 2 second hold at the beginning, then we've got 4 second pan into the gate, and then I think we've got a 4 second hold. But like I said, we'll probably end up cutting these cameras back when I jump into Premiere. But let's just play through our sequence and see what we got. Again, we're looking at this camera view, this cinematic viewport over here on the left. It looks like I have a bit of a problem there with the very beginning. The camera moves back before it moves forward. Let's have a look at that. Back, 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 back. Yeah, we see we get this, it pulls back before it pulls forward. Sniper says working on camera work next week myself in UE4. Never really done it myself. Well, neither have I. We're both new to it, Sniper Echo. As I pointed out to you guys yesterday, I haven't used Sequencer in UE4 because this is the first project I've done in UE4 actually. I've worked in UDK and UE3 and all those other Unreal Engine versions, but Sequencer is new to UE4. So this is the first time I've worked with it as well. And aside from maybe a few little quirks here and there, it's pretty straightforward, I think. It's not too bad. I sort of get the idea as to what they're doing. It's very similar to working in Adobe Premiere, I have to say, or After Effects, really, which helps. Similar, but not the same. I think Epic Games did that on purpose so that people that are used to working in other video editors don't get completely lost when they work in Sequencer. No, I don't want the camera to pull back here though, so all that will mean is what? I want to start the camera. I don't want to start the camera. Why is it moving forward? That's very strange. I'm just trying to work out why it's pulling back here. There are no keyframes, so it should not be pulling back. Sniper says moving camera is easy. Moving them so it makes the scene look good is another thing, yeah. Smokeberry says I can move a camera straight to the center of the spoiler, it's blue. It's blue. I don't get it, Smokeberry. You can move a camera straight to the center of the... Oh, spoiler, it's blue. I'm being thick. I don't get it. Explain it to me, Smurfberry. You move a camera straight to the center of the earth. Spoiler, it's blue. I'm going to try and work out here why the camera is moving back because there are no keyframes telling it to. So I just want to see what's going on here. Where is my camera? Where is my camera? I think I know how I can find it. I'll select it. That will help. Camera. There we are. All right. So I'm just going to try and work out here why the camera is moving backwards before it moves forwards. Move through our timeline. So the camera is sitting there. We move forward, it moves backward, we move forward, it moves forward. That's very strange. Wax Kink, good to see you. How are you? I'm well, thank you very much for asking. And it's good to see you, Wax Kink. Smurfberry says, blue is the colour of the all-encompassing skybox in a number of old level editors. So if you move the camera under the level mesh, everything is blue. Well, that makes sense, Smurfberry Barbecue. Thank you for telling me that, even though it's just me being thick. That is very true, and that does make sense. Although if we move our camera underneath of our level here, it'll just look grey, I think, because of the fog effect during gameplay. Yeah, okay. Yep. All right. I get it. So why is our camera moving backwards? Explain this to me. Explain why. There are no keyframes to tell it to move backwards. So why is it moving backwards? That's very strange. That's okay though. What we can do is we can select the keys here at the beginning. And I'll delete them. Now our camera stays stationary. I'm just going to move it back to frame 0 I should say, and add our keyframes back. Wax King says, how have your projects been going? This project's been going very well. Again, I'm just wanting to check what this thing is doing. Why is it doing that? All right, it wants to be temperamental. Just let me fix this little keyframing issue here, and then we'll go through the project that I'm working on. So our camera is stationary. We move forward through the trees to get a close-up on our gate. And then the camera will be stationary. And we'll do the editing of the video inside of Premiere. You can see we've got a nice depth of field going on here. The leaves in the foreground, the branches are a little bit blurred. I know it's a little hard to see on stream probably, and the gate is in focus. We can check that again by selecting our camera. You have a quick question, Wax Kink? Yeah, go right ahead. If anyone has any questions for me while I'm working, please feel free to ask. I'm on Twitch to chat to you guys and help you if I can, so never ever feel that you can't interrupt me and ask me a question in chat. And Wax King says, do you work for a studio or freelance? I do both. I work full-time for a studio and I do freelance work as well. Wax Kink. But I did just want to go through our bookmarks one more time, just for anyone that has just jumped into the channel. So I'm just going to go full screen on this viewport here. And go through our bookmarks. You have to excuse this camera in the corner here. Again, just to show you guys what the interior looks like now that the final lighting build has been done, because I did a production quality lighting build. Before we were looking at this, it was all in preview quality. So just again to show you guys the different parts of the building. Before we get to it, to set our cameras up inside the building. The main entryway. That side room on the left. The side room on the right, which is the dining room. And then we're back to our main gate, which is where we're starting our cinematic. Wax King says, as you know, I'm still learning and was wondering if you had any tips to find work as I learn. Tips to find work. Make sure your portfolio is up to date and up to scratch and looking as good as you can get it, because that's the thing that's going to sell you to an employer. You've got to make sure your portfolio is as good as you can make it. So again, my tips for portfolios. Limit the amount of images you show. Just because you've created 50 pieces of work doesn't mean you should show 50 pieces of work in your portfolio. These people are very busy. They don't have time to look at 50 pieces of work. My suggestion is no more than 12. Now, it's always a personal thing, but more than 12 images, and then potential employers are not going to spend the time looking at each image. They're just going to go through them very quickly, and they're not going to look at probably more than 12 because they have so many to look at and they don't have the time. I'm wondering why Sniper Echo is saying, Phil, is this the UT or UE4 version? You know what this is, Sniper Echo. What do you mean? Wow. What is the UT? What is the UT version, Sniper, anyway? Unreal Tournament, is that what you're talking about? Anyway, getting back to Axe King's question, yeah, make sure that you don't overwhelm them in your portfolio with images. No more than 12 is what I suggest. Only choose your best pieces. You're so cheeky, Sniper Echo, slap. You get a Phil slap. Only choose your best pieces of work to show in your portfolio, of course. It always helps to get friends and family to look at the images. Say you've got more than 12 and you want to cut it back. Get your mum, your dad, your friends to look at your images and see which ones they like the best and go from there. That's a good way, because sometimes when you design stuff, you look at it so often and for so long, you get sort of blinders, and having a fresh set of eyes look at your stuff can help, which is why it's always good to show your work to as many people as you can to get feedback. So yeah, get your friends and family, your mum, your dad, whatever, your brother, sister, to check out your images and see which ones they like the most. If they've got no taste, then don't pay any attention to them, of course, but it always helps to get other people to look at your stuff. Choose 12 images, put those 12 images in your portfolio, make sure your portfolio is all up to date. You don't need a website for your portfolio. You can put it up on ArtStation or places like that. You can set up a web page there for your portfolio of work. But it is good to have it online and give people a link. As far as finding work goes, maybe go to the industry websites, depending on what industry you want to get into. Like if you want to do game stuff, go to the gaming websites. I can't remember the name of them now because it's been a while since I worked in games, but there are websites you can go to where they list job positions, which are specific to the games industry. You can check those out. ArchBiz, the same thing. Film, the same sort of thing. They're all specific websites you can check out in their job sections to see what's around. I always am a big advocate of actually emailing an employer directly if you want to work for them. Don't spam people, but if you want to work for a particular company or there are companies in your area that you want to work for, then send them an email saying, I'm available. Here's a link to my portfolio. If you're interested, please get back to me. That's much more effective than people give it credit for. You know, people think, oh, no one reads email. It all goes to a junk file. Well, that's not true. The majority of companies that run their companies properly do look at their email, and they will respond to you, even if they don't. Not every company will. Some companies won't respond to you. That's just the way they are. Maybe they get a lot of people asking, but a lot of companies will respond to you. They'll either say, "Oh, yeah, we like your work," or they'll say, "Oh, we don't have anything at the moment, but we'll keep you on file." I mean, it sounds like a throwaway line, but they do that. They keep people that they think might be a good fit for the studio on file. And when some work comes up where they need extra manpower, then they'll contact you. That's happened to me before. So don't get discouraged either if you can't find something immediately, because sometimes it just depends on the workload of the studios and stuff, and it varies throughout the year. Unless you work for the studio that I work at, where they're opening another studio and we get inundated with work. So yes, that's my other tip there regarding finding a job. Any other tips I can think of? No, number one, portfolio, most important. Number two, look at industry websites for jobs. Number three, cold call, which is just emailing companies randomly that you want to work for. Of course, going to companies' websites that do have a careers section, finding work that way. Jump on whatever is the local job search engine in your country. Seek, for example. I'm pretty sure Seek.com is in every country in the world. Make sure you set up a profile on Seek. And that way, interested employers can find you when they do a search on Seek. Yeah. Aside from that, though, I don't think there are any other tips I can really give you that jump out anyway. But just don't get discouraged either. It does take time. And the 3D industry, whether it's the games industry, arts biz or film, are very seasonal. So different times of the year, they're going to be quieter and other times they're going to be busier. So if you don't hear back immediately, don't get discouraged, because it sort of ebbs and flows in 3D and design as to when they're quiet and when they're busy. So, all right, let's have a look at our camera here. I'm going to jump back into our camera cinematic viewport over here. And let me make sure my camera is not moving. I'm just going to press escape. That line you can see there, that's the fog moving in the viewport. So I just want to deselect that so it doesn't get distracting. Because the fog particles are very large. Even though they don't look large here, the fog is actually being applied to quite a large plane. So, Wax King says, that's good advice. Looks like I need to redo my portfolio. Yeah, it's the most important thing. It really is. Thanks very much. I'm willing to put in as much time as it takes, and I'm determined to get better. Well, that's the best attitude to have. Yep, that's the best attitude to have, because in anything it's going to take time to get work. It's very few people that can find work immediately and jump from one studio to another. That's not generally the way things work. So be, determined, which is good. Make sure you do update your portfolio. It's the most important thing, because that is what an employer will look at and judge whether they think they want to hire you or not. Or they want to interview you at the very least anyway, is your portfolio. So you must make sure your portfolio is as good as you can make it. Don't overwhelm them though with images. Like I say, my portfolio, I have 12 images, and 12 I've found to be the ideal number. It's not too few that they think this guy's done nothing. It's not too many that they think, oh God, I can't be bothered looking at all these images. I've got too much work to do. So that's sort of the sweet spot I've found is 12. Your 12 best things to put in your portfolio. Whether that's images if you're a 3D artist, environments if you're an environment artist, animations if you're an animator, you get the idea. Alrighty, so we have our camera here, and now my camera is stationary, which is what I want. I'm just going to select my camera. We see our camera up there on the right hand side. I don't know my left from my right. I'm just looking through our settings here. Anytime you see these little buttons, that means you can keyframe any of these attributes inside of Sequencer. So like the focal distance here, for instance, we can keyframe directly inside of Sequencer if we wanted to. I don't want to, but I'm just pointing that out. Wax King says, well, I'm going to get back to work then. Thanks so much for the advice again. You have a great night. You too, Wax King. Thanks for popping in and saying hi. Shark, I'll call you Shark. It's been a while since I've been here. Hello to you too, Shark. Good to see you. I hope you're well. I hope you have been well. We're on the final stage. We're on the cinematic stage of this now, so we're setting up our cameras for our cinematic. And it's good to see you, Shark. Yes, let me think. What am I doing here? That's right. So we have our camera stationary for 2 seconds. Then we start to move through up to our gate here. And we're going to do that over a period of about 4 seconds. And then I'm going to hold at the gate here for 4 seconds. Again, I'm doing 10-second camera shots, but we're going to be cutting it back inside of Adobe Premiere. I want to allow for more than I need, put it that way. Shark says, I've been busy, started a job at a studio a few months ago. Well, congratulations, Shark. That is excellent news and very good to hear. And are you liking it? You liking working in a studio? Every studio is different, I've found, to work for. Some better than others. I hope you're enjoying it though. Which sort of studio? Is it a game studio, arts biz studio, design studio? I'm just curious. It is awesome news, as Sniper Echo says. I always like to hear it when you guys and girls get to do what you love doing. And as Sniper Echo says, congratulations, Shark, on getting that job in the studio. So yes, we're moving through, again, in our cinematic here, we can see we've got the depth of field set to the gate here. So the plants in the foreground are slightly out of focus, which is what I want. I want our gate to be the main focus for our camera as we move through and get closer to it. This is just a simple shot moving straight up to the gate. Shark says it's fun so far. The atmosphere is great. It's a game studio. Well, good to hear. Playground games. Forza Horizon. Oh, okay, cool. That's very cool, Shark. Playground games. I know the Forza Horizon game that you're talking about. It's incredibly good. Good to hear. I'm glad you're enjoying it too. I hope they're not working you too hard. All right. So yeah, this camera was just a straight pan, straight up to the gate, through the trees, straight up to the gate. I think it's time we move through the gate, guys, don't you? So let's go back into our, actually before we do that, let's just do a save all. Because you guys know I turn auto save off, so I must remember to save manually. Let's create another camera shot. So let's duplicate this one. Shot 4, that's good. Let's open that up in sequencer. We want to remove this one because it's just a copy of the one we just had. And let's add a, in fact, I'm just going to go full screen here. So I've just got a bit more room to work while I place my next camera down. So I'm just going to move up into a position here where I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to start this time with a camera rig rail. Let's see, how do I want to move this next camera? I think to go through the gate, I want the camera to sort of start here and then we're going to move through the gate and inside. Now, like I said yesterday, most people when they do this cinematic work in Unreal or any game engine will do that. They're going to select their camera and they're going to use their mouse and they're going to move around and they're going to say, yeah, I like that. Then I'm going to move my camera forward and then I'm going to turn my camera around and then I'm going to sort of go like this. And while that's very valid way to work, it's not the best way to work because you're going to get really inconsistent movements in the camera. It's not going to be nice and smooth simply because you're using the mouse to try and move the camera. So that's why you use things like the camera crane or the camera rail. It'll smooth everything out nicely for you. And that's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to get my rail positioned here. We can always move it after the fact, that's not a problem. And I just have to remember how I do this now. It's been a while since I've used the rail or the rig. I'm just going to pull this up a little bit. That's not what I want to do. It's not what I want to do either. I'm just going to undo that. My fog is getting in the way. I'm just going to turn the fog off so that I can make my selections a little bit more easily. Because even though it doesn't look like I'm selecting the fog, I am selecting the fog by mistake. Sniper says, click on the white box. I think, yeah, I'm trying to do that. Shark says, only 5 minutes here and already gaining more UE4 Cinematic knowledge. Well, good to hear, Shark. Again, though, you have to forgive me because I'm new to Sequencer. It's the first time I've used Sequencer in UE4. I'm used to using Matinee. So even though stuff from Matinee transfers over to Sequencer, it's still a new editor for me to be using as well. There's a key that I've got to press that I can't remember what it is. What I want to do is basically I want to move the white box forward. I want to create a copy of it. I'm just going to change the length. There we go. Hold the Alt key down to create a second box, and what that allows us to do is allows us to start curving the track. So again, I'm going to hold the Alt key down, drag out to create a third one, and now I can move it over and you see that our rail starts to curve. That's what I want, because I want it to curve through the gate. Hold the Alt and drag. Yep, that's right, Sniper Echo. Thank you. So yes, hold the Alt key down and then drag out, and then drag over to move. Again, we'll hold the Alt key and move. And I think I want to move my rail into about, probably about here. So maybe just a little bit further in. Have a little bit further than we need, just in case we want to make any changes. Sniper says, can double click in middle of line to place another point. I didn't know that. It's interesting. Just trying to get my rail here to look a little bit nicer. It doesn't really matter because it's the camera that's most important. Let's move our rail back a bit so we actually go through where our gate is open. Okay, let's add a cinematic camera. And we're going to attach that camera to the rail that we just created and center our camera out at 0. We should be able to do that just by hitting that little button there. So now our camera is attached to our rail rig. Don't worry about the camera being in the middle of the rail like that. The rail never renders, so it's just there for visual so that we can see where it is, how our camera moves. Shark says, isn't there a curve smoothing option like in Matinee? There is. There is certainly for your camera movements. There's a curve editor here that you can use to, if you're talking about the camera transforms themselves, or if you're talking about the rig here, you can certainly select it and move it that way as well. Anyway, we're working with our camera, so that's what we're going to be working with here. Now with my camera, I may just move it up, I think. We can see what the camera's looking at here, but if I go out of full screen, we should, and I add it to the cinematic here, we can see it here. So we select both of them, the rail and the camera. We want to add a track, add to sequencer, add current selected 2 actors. Up here we want to choose our camera, which is going to be cinematic camera 14, so that we get our thumbnails show up. We have to remember to turn the camera on if we want to see it in our viewport here. Let me just deselect that. Again, even though we can see our rail, it won't render out in our cinematic. It's just there as a visual to show us where the rail is. But my camera is pointing in the wrong direction, so I'm going to rotate my camera, I think. And I think I want my camera looking maybe to add a bit of an angle like that. I may move the rail and back a bit. So I'm just going to get into my perspective viewport here and move the whole rig and rail back, or forward I should say, because that's just a bit too close to the gate there like that. So I'm looking in this viewport here on the left while I move it in the right here. Shark says, or we can just imagine it's a roller coaster. That's right. It does look like a roller coaster. Again, though, I'm looking at this and I think our camera is a bit too low to the ground, so I'm going to move the entire rail higher. You could either... I prefer to do it this way by moving the entire rail. The other way to do it would be just to move the camera higher. But by moving the rail, you can see exactly where it's moving. The camera will be moving, as opposed to if I just move the camera up, it's harder to visualize. So I'm going to move the entire rig and rail up. Again, I'm looking in the left-hand viewport while I do this because that's what our camera sees. Just going to pull up, pull back, so I've just got a little bit more room to work here while I make these adjustments in my perspective viewport here on the right. Oh, I thought I might have forgotten to unpause my music, but I didn't. I'm good. And I'm just going to keep moving this up until I get into a camera position here. I think looks cool. I quite like that. I like the fact that we see the scroll here at the top of the frame and we see a bit of the scrolling here at the bottom of the frame. It helps to balance it out a bit. That's the scrolling on the gate, the ironwork I'm talking about. There's me, oh Joe, so cheeky, Sniper Echo. There's music with a question mark. There is music and it is playing and it's not muted and it's not paused. You're so cheeky. Cheeky, cheeky, cheeky. Slap. Wow, you guys, and Sniper Echo is incredibly cheeky. Alright, so we have our shot framed up here at the beginning. We're at the zero frame. Again, we're working to 10 seconds. If we start our camera here, I might pause here at a second and before our camera starts moving, I think. So we'll go up to about the 1 second mark. Select our camera and add a keyframe. I'm just going to open up the transform to make sure it did add all my keyframes properly. Yes, it did. You don't have to, I just like to double check. So before, the camera will be paused for 1 second before it starts to move through the gate. Shark, thank you for following the channel. I do appreciate it very much. So thank you, Shark, for the follow. Remember to, Shark, even though you are working for a studio, I'm sure you're surrounded by people that are very knowledgeable and can help you out. We're always here and I'm always here if you've got any questions and you want to ask me anything while I'm streaming. Remember, Shark, too, to join the Phil Does 3D Discord server. Everybody is very friendly on the Discord server. I'll just pop the link in chat for you if you want. You can post links to your work, or there's a gallery section there. So if anyone wants to post links to stuff they're working on, they can do it on the Discord server, because only subs can post links in Twitch chat. I just wanted to point that out so that anyone watching my channel doesn't post a link in Twitch chat unless they're a sub, because they'll get timed out by Sniper Echo. But everyone can post links in Discord. So join the Discord server. Alrighty. Smurfberry says, Phil, I don't even have the next 24 hours planned out and you have your stream schedule out to December planned. Yeah, that's right. Can't say I'm going to stick to it. No, I'll try to. That's the plan. That's the plan. Snipers, Sniper Echo and Smurfberry Barbecue, I always get them mixed up because they both start with S. Smurfberry Barbecue is talking about on the Phil Does 3D Discord server, I've added a new channel called Stream Schedule. Yeah. That has my schedule out till the end of the year, showing you which days I stream on and what time. Well, I just thought maybe everybody doesn't see the panels below my stream. Maybe people just jump on Discord and they don't know when I'm streaming, so I thought putting the schedule there might have been a good idea. But you're right. Let's see if it works out that way, Smurfberry Barbecue. Yeah, the Sniper is saying, Shark, we can't wait to see some of your work. I did not say ban Sniper Echo. You keep those twitchy fingers away from the ban button. Yeah, you don't have to show your work on Discord, guys. I'm just saying that there is a gallery section there and you can show your stuff that you're working on Discord. But there's people on Discord that are just chatting away, so just chat on Discord if that's what you want to do. You do start with S. Sniper says, we don't start with S. I have a capital S and it's totally different, Phil. We work very hard to get this right. Well, that is true. Sniper Echo starts with a capital S and Smurfberry Barbecue starts with a lowercase s. And I know yesterday I misspoke and blamed Smurfberry Barbecue for something when I meant Sniper Echo. I forget what it was now. Anyway. Poor Smurfberry Barbecue copying all the crap that Sniper Echo should be getting. Shark says everyone here starts with an S. Yeah, hey, Shark as well. What is it with all these S's? Wax Kink isn't an S though. Phil starts with a P, that's right. And my initials are PP because it's Philip Fair. So Phil Fair, PP. And you can believe the amount of crap I used to cop at school because of that. Spill. Nightbot is spamming my links by the look of it. I'm going to have another little chat with Nightbot. Naughty little bot. It's got a mind of its own. I'm convinced of it. Mind of its own, that chatbot. All right, so we're holding on 1 second. Let's move through to 1, 2, 3. Let's take 1, 2, 3. Let's take 4 or 5 seconds to actually move through the gate. I want to choose the rail. Sniper Echo says I can get behind that. So I've chosen the camera rail. I'm going to add the current position on rail to the sequencer. I'm just going to jump back to the 1 second mark here because I want to make sure that we add a keyframe there. We're at current position on rail. Now we're going to jump back up to about 5 second mark. And if we look at the cinematic viewport, we can see our camera moving through along the rail. Okay, I can see what's going on there. Sniper Girl, good to see you, Sniper Girl. I hope you're well. I hope everything's good with you, Sniper Girl. Thank you for popping into chat, and it's good to see you. I think we're going to add a keyframe here. Oh, what's going on? Let me do that again. Let's move our camera. Through to about here. Sniper Girl saying, how's everyone been? Good to see you as well. Yeah, I've been good. Last week I wasn't streaming. I took a week off, so missed 2 streams last week. Just a week off to go to my cabin in the woods, so that was really nice. I wanted a nice relaxing week away from all technology. So that's what I did last week, so I'm feeling nice and refreshed and relaxed. But aside from that, their work for me has been very busy. The studio is very busy, as usual. How has things been with you though, Sniper Girl? You been up to anything interesting? You working on anything at the moment? Let's... Let's move back. Let's center this back at 0. Cabin in the woods without crazy people, right? Just without crazy people, that's right. No hidden base underground controlling people in the cabin in the woods, no. If you check out my Twitter page at PhilDoes3D, you can see a picture I posted of what it looks like, where I was. It's near a national park here in Victoria called the Grampians, which is beautiful, a beautiful place. So yes, isolated, no technology, just there is electricity, but no technology, no TV, no mobile phones. It was good to get away from tech, because I work with technology all day. I like to have a break from it whenever I can. So at least once a year, I go out to the middle of nowhere and where there's no technology and no one around for miles and miles and miles, and relax. I do take a camera though, my digital camera, so I can take pictures for textures and stuff, but that's the only thing I take as far as tech goes. There is a kitchen, Sniper Echo. There is a kitchen, and there is a toilet, and there is electricity and running water in the cabin, unlike the house here. As I'm sure you guys and girls want to point out. Paz, it's good to see you, Paz. I hope you're well. Hope everything's good, Paz. Thanks for popping in and saying hello. You guys know I love it when you chat with me on Twitch. That's why the most enjoyable thing for me on Twitch is chatting with you guys. So thanks for popping in and saying hi, Paz. Sniper Girl says been staying busy. have a BS part-time job and come home to work on sci-fi backdrop for a portfolio piece. You got the BS during the day, and then when you get home, you can get into your own little zone and work on your own stuff. So it's like a break from all the BS, Sniper Girl. At least that's what I find. You guys know I do a lot of work from home anyway. But when I'm working on my own personal stuff, like this cinematic we're doing now, it's like having a little break for me. Even though it's still 3D and I do 3D all day long, this is my 3D, my own stuff, and it makes it much more enjoyable. At least that's what I find. Maybe because the project I work on is something I'm interested in or I've chosen to do, as opposed to being told, you're going to be doing this now, you're going to be doing this now. Yeah. So, and it's a good way to relax, I find, doing 3D anyway. Doing art in general is a good relaxation tool. So if you're a bit stressed out, or you're a bit, I don't know, down maybe, or whatever, do some art. It's very therapeutic. It doesn't have to be 3D art. It can be any sort of art. It can be some drawing, it can be some painting, some collage. It can be any sort of art at all. It's incredibly therapeutic. At least that's what I find. Right, so I've got to work out what's going on here. What are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? Current position on rail. There. No. You moved it forward again, didn't you? You. Back to 0. Create a key. Let's move it up to 5 seconds. We've got a key there. Good. Let me just scrub through the timeline to see if it's done its job. What would say it's doing what I want it to, and it's not. You are being very naughty. I'm just going to delete this key here. I think I have a few keys overlaid on top of each other. I think that's what's going on here. It's me spamming the S button too much. The S button, by the way, is a way to quickly add a keyframe. So yes, if you're doing a cinematic and you want to lay down a keyframe quickly, just press the S key on your keyboard. Paz says, I was talking to Sniper Girl, they make Star Wars spaceship, I just can't. The city backdrop sounds really cool. Are you guys and girls looking forward to CD Projekt Red's new game called Cyberpunk 2077, I think it's called? It looks amazing. I'm looking forward to it because you guys know I love The Witcher. That's another CD Projekt Red game. So if they do half as good a job as they did on The Witcher 3, it's going to be an amazing, amazing game. So yeah, Cyberpunk 2077, I think it is. Check it out. It looks amazing. Or Cyberpunk 77. I can't remember what exactly the... You're looking forward to it, Sniper Girl? Yeah, it looks great, doesn't it? Looks absolutely amazing. And like I said, CD Projekt Red do an incredible job with their games. They really focus on the story, which is really important to me. And their games always look beautiful as well. So I'm sure they're going to do an amazing job. You're riding that hype train hard, Smurfberry barbecue, so am I. Sniper, you can't wait for it too? Yeah, it looks great. It's going to be an amazing game. Sniper Girl says it does. A bit surprised that it's going to be in first person. I like first person games. Maybe I'm just amongst the minority here. I can play third person, like The Witcher 3 is third person, but I added a mod to The Witcher 3 to make it first person. Not during combat, but just during exploration. I like the first person perspective. I find you get more, I find at least you're more engrossed in the game. It looks more realistic to me in first person, as opposed to being in third person where it looks like you're controlling a character. But yeah, so I don't mind it being in first person. I actually like that. I think they did say that they may give you the option to turn it to third person though. Well, I think they said it goes to third person during cutscenes when you're interacting with other characters. Sniper Girl says, I do too, but the studio that is making it isn't really known for first-person games. Was surprised due to that. That's very true. Pardon me. That's true. CD Projekt Red, all their games so far, I'm pretty sure have been in third person. And the differences in gameplay between third person and first person are quite dramatic. But so long as they take their time and they're careful, they should be okay, I think. Doing a first person camera view. Just the mechanics. The mechanics of the design of the gameplay have to be a bit different between third and first. Which is why in The Witcher 3, even though I explore in first person, anytime there's an encounter with monsters or whatever, it jumps into third person because the game was designed for third person. You can't play it in first person if you're fighting people. Not well, anyway. Some cutscenes and driving, as Smurpery says, yeah, that's when they're going to go into third person. Shark says, well, we will get higher resolution textures with first person. That's true. Yep, very true. Because with first person, they have to make sure that that the texture resolution is good enough because people will be able to walk right up to things, as opposed to third person where the camera is always a certain distance away from the character. So you can never actually get close up on anything. Now you behave yourself here. I want to set you back to 0. And I want to add a keyframe. Why are you doing that? No, that's interesting. Okay, I think I need to be in the transform here. I think that's the problem. Go back to 0 here on our rail. Make sure we set our keyframe. Jump forward to here. We have our rail. Set our keyframe. Let me move this forward. Sniper Girl says, well, got tired of Twitch Prime not having a resub feature, so went ahead and subbed the old-fashioned way. Did you sub to me? Are you talking about Sniper Girl? If that's the case, thank you very much. I haven't got a notification about it yet. You know you can sub actually on mobile now, guys, using the Twitch app. I don't suggest you do it because they charge you $1 more. That's not Twitch doing that though. That's the fees that Android charge Twitch to actually allow people to sub via the mobile app. So yes, you can. Twitch did send me an email and they suggested that we, as Twitch streamers, remind you viewers that you can now sub on the Twitch mobile app or tablet app or phone app or whatever you want to call it. You can subscribe directly through the app now, but instead of a $4.99 subscription, they charge $5.99. And again, that extra $1 is because of the charges that Android charge Twitch to actually do transactions on their platform. So there you go, guys. I've told you about it. It is convenient to be able to subscribe through the app itself, but I'd rather save the $1 if I was you and do it through a web browser. But yeah, with Twitch Prime or Twitch Turbo, whatever you want to call the new Twitch, I'm a Twitch Turbo, Twitch Prime person. It doesn't automatically renew. You've got to do it manually. And if you don't use it, you lose it. So if you are a Twitch Turbo, Twitch Prime, whatever they're calling it, I can't remember the name, user, and you do get a free sub every month, make sure you use it on some streamer, because if you don't use it, you lose it anyway. And you're paying for it as part of your Twitch Prime subscription. And I did just get the subscription, Sniper Girl. Thank you very much for the 3-month in a row sub. You are awesome, Sniper Girl. The other thing coming too is sub badges. They're being introduced at in July. So I have all of mine designed and ready. If you want to find out what they look like, go to my website. There's a sub perks heading underneath on the main toolbar of my website, or look in the panels below my stream. You can see a graphic that says sub perks and sub pop-ups. Click here. That'll take you directly to what you get as a subscriber on my channel. And yes, the sub badges are shown there, but they're not going to be available until July, when Twitch actually turn that feature on. Yeah, it does count as a resub, Sniper Girl. If you subscribe to a streamer, and you say you've been subscribing to them for 3 months, and then your subscription ends and you don't resubscribe straight away, you get a 30-day period to resubscribe. I think it's 30 days. And if you resubscribe within that 30-day period, then your sub streak continues. So you don't lose your sub streak. They give you a leeway of it's either 14 or 30 days after the subscription ends. If you resub within that period, you can keep your sub streak. So yeah, check that out. Sub pop-ups, that's the other thing for subscribers, that they are coming. I'm about halfway through doing them. They'll probably arrive about the same time as the sub badges do. Like I said, I'm halfway through doing them. I spent the last month or so, I've been working on getting my shop set up on my website, my 3D store. So that doing all the back end stuff with that took quite a while. So I'm only about halfway through the sub pop-ups, but they are coming, I promise. And they'll be ready about the same time as the badges go live, sub badges. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 30 days. If you resub within 30 days, you can keep your sub streak. Mesh Fusion, good to see you, Mesh Fusion. Says, crap, need to get on computer and resub before I lose the streak, but it's hot, but it's damn hot in the computer room at the moment. You got 30 days, so I'm pretty sure it's 30 days to resub, to keep your sub streak. And you want to keep those sub streaks because that will determine the color of your sub badge, your custom sub badge, Phildoes 3D sub badge. And again, if you want to see what they look like, go to my website or click on the link below the streams called sub perks and sub pop-ups. That'll take you directly to my website sub page. Blah. Anyway, so I've got to work out why this damn camera keeps popping back. Don't be doing this to me. Select the viewport here. Escape out of that. Escape out of that. Escape out of that. There we go. And now let me see what's going on. We have our camera rig. I've moved back to 0. I want to move you back to 0. And I want... Okay. Sniper Girl says, honestly, could care less about the badge, just like supporting you, a fellow artist. Well, I appreciate it, Sniper Girl. Which is the most important thing. That's why a lot of people sub to Twitch streamers. It's to support the streamer and the art, if they're doing art. But you do get people that want things as a subscriber. It's usually the younger crowd. You know, they want the emotes, and as an affiliate, you only get one emote, unfortunately, unlike partners who get 50 or however many it is. So you have to give them some stuff that's a bit above and beyond to encourage them to subscribe. They don't think like you. They're in a normal way, Sniper Girl. They want stuff. Which is why they get half price off on all my models, 3D models as well. You don't even notice the badges, Miss Fusion says. No, you're probably right. It's a new thing that Twitch are giving to affiliates though, so. And it is important to some people, to some subs, they really want that badge. If they don't have that special badge, then they're not happy. I don't get the whole emote thing, and to be honest with you guys, I just don't get it. I mean, I know what it is, and I know why it's used, why we use emotes, But people subbing so they can get emotes, I don't get that. I'm sure it's a thrill for some people to do, but I couldn't care less, to be honest, whether I have emotes or not. And the badges are just a way to show your sub streak, because the badge will change colour depending on how long you've been subbed, basically. But the other things I added for subscribers, like I said, were 50% off all 3D models from my website. So if any of you guys want to do any art, or any subscribers want to do any art, and they can't be bothered making the models to make their renders with, they can buy them from my shop and they can get them at half price. So that's another perk subs get. Stuff like that. And the sub pop-ups will be for people to interact live on screen with me instead of just having an emote in Twitch chat. They will be able to actually have stuff pop up on the screen live while I'm streaming. Won't that be fun? I'm keeping it pretty clean. You know, I'm a family-friendly channel here, so there won't be any sub pop-ups that are too awful or gratuitous or anything like that. It'll all be pretty clean. Sniper Girl says, yeah, buying 3D models at a discount doesn't appeal to me either. I love making my own. Well, that's fair enough. And I assume that a lot of you guys watching me are 3D people anyway. So, you know, 3D people generally like to make their own, because I'm like that. I don't buy other people's models. I make it if I need it. But there are people that maybe aren't good at 3D that do watch my... Not everyone, I think, that watches me is a 3D person. They just like to watch people do 3D. Or maybe they like art. And for those people, they can buy 3D models that, if they can't make them or they don't want to make them, that they can use in their artwork. So it's mainly for those people, not for you, Sniper Girl. Or for people like me, really. Mesh Fusion says, wouldn't pay for an emote or badge. Do you support an artist that takes time to answer questions and help other artists? This stream is a training stream for me, so that's why I sub. Well, that's fair enough, and I thank you for your subs, Mesh Fusion. I thank all you guys and girls that sub to my channel. I do appreciate it, regardless of what the reason is you're subbing for. If you sub because you like the emotes, thank you. If you sub because you want half off the models, thank you. But if you sub just because you like to support other artists, I thank you for that as well. Whatever your reason is, a sub is a sub is a sub, and I appreciate them all. And I do try and make my streams as educational as I can, or as helpful as I can anyway, because you guys know I'm always willing to help anyone out that asks any questions if I can. I don't pretend to know everything, but if I'm able to help out, I'm happy to try. Because I have been in 3D for quite a while. If I think about it, it scares me. A long, long time. Shark says, I guess Twitch already gave me an emote by default. That's a cool emote, though. I can see the appeal of emotes. I mean, don't get me wrong. I see their appeal. I mean, you know, they can be cute, they can be funny. Smurfberry Barbecue loves them. So, yeah, I do get why people like emotes. I mean, I use them on Discord. I use them when I send SMSs or MMSs to people. I use, you know, smiley faces, frowny faces, the poo emoji or whatever. So I use them. I get it. I do get that. The Sniper Girl says, agree with Smith Fusion. I mean, Atfill Does 3D has helped so many people. Well, I'm glad. I hope I have. You guys know the whole reason I started streaming on Twitch about a year and a half ago, time flies, it's been that long already, was to encourage other people to do 3D, because it's something that I'm passionate about and I love doing. And I'm sure a lot of other people would love it too if they just gave it a go. And I think a lot of people get intimidated, not you guys and girls that are old hands at doing 3D, but new people get intimidated by a lot of 3D software or doing 3D. They Smurfberry Barbecue there with the emotes. A lot of people get intimidated by it and so never even try to do it. And I think that's sad, because a lot of people could get a lot of enjoyment out of it. You don't have to do it for work. Like I say, you do it because it's fun. It's a fun thing to do. You know, you go for a walk because it's fun. You kick a football around because it's fun. You do 3D because it's fun. And you can make stuff that doesn't exist anywhere in the world, never will. You can make places that don't exist. Whatever you can imagine, you can make. And that's the really exciting thing that I love about 3D. And that's what I want to encourage other people to, why I want to encourage other people to do 3D. And of course, you can make a good living out of it if you so desire. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Mesh Fusion, for, you must have subbed, I'm assuming. Mesh Fusion resub. Thank you for the resub, Mesh Fusion. I do appreciate it. You are awesome. Sniper Girl and Mesh Fusion, thank you very much. I do appreciate the subscriptions, guys, regardless of what the reason is you're subscribing to me for. But yeah, so that was the reason I got on Twitch, was to help people if I can, when I can, and to encourage people to do 3D because it's fun. And to chat to you guys and girls. That's what I like most about being on Twitch, is interacting with you in chat. That's the most fun for me. More so than actually working on anything here. It's actually chatting to you. Well, it says a resub. My notification, I'm still waiting for it to come through on Streamlabs, but as soon as it does, I'll let you know, Miss Fusion. And like I said, don't quote me 30 days. I'm pretty sure it's either within 14 or 30 days. It's one of the two. There is a period that they give you to resub to keep your sub streak. When the notification comes through on my Streamlabs, Mesh Fusion, I will be able to tell you. I know that Sniper Girl kept her sub streak there, so we'll find out when the notification comes through. Sniper Girl says, Phil does 3D, or you do 3D because you're a masochist and like fighting with programs. Well, that would be true if I was using ZBrush, for sure. You got to be a masochist to want to use ZBrush. But not with Max. Max is my baby. I never mind using Max. There can be times when the program will crash, but hey, every program will crash at some stage. All right, let's go through our timeline. So we're holding for 1 second on the gate before the camera starts to move along the rail through the gate. Blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Moving through the gate, through the gate, through the gate. Until we get to about the 5 second mark. Paz says, feels bad now and cheap. I don't have a PayPal. Don't look, guys. Please don't ever think you need to sub to me. I really appreciate the subscription. It does help with the channel, keep the channel up, for sure. So all subscriptions are truly, truly appreciated. But don't feel bad if you can't. Please. If you can't afford to sub, that's fine. Or if you can't because you don't have PayPal or whatever, please don't ever feel bad about it. I love yous all. I love yous all the same. Mesh Fusion says, no, you use ZBrush if you're a perfectionist. Okay, you're telling that story, Mesh Fusion. Okay. Sniper Girl says, I know that feeling. Maya is my baby. I love using it so far. Yeah. I think every 3D guy that's been doing it, or girl that's been doing it for a while, considers their preferred 3D program their baby. Whether that's Maya, Max, ZBrush, or Blender, or Cinema 4D, whatever it is. You come to think of them as your baby. Sniper Girl says, though, I'm thinking of picking up Max. Maya is is a great 3D program. If you know Maya, the more 3D programs you know, the more employable you are, of course. So I never discourage people from learning more than one. But I've always said all along, make sure you learn one really well before you start trying to learn others. So don't learn a little bit of Max and then a little bit of Maya and then a little bit of Blender. Learn one program really well. Once you know it really well, then you can start learning others. That's the best way to go. Paz says, I can send you a heart. Thank you, Paz. I appreciate the heart. I'll send you a heart back. All you guys and girls. Mesh Fusion says, if other apps are so good, then how come you have to take them into ZBrush to clean them up, huh? If you would use ZBrush to begin with, you wouldn't need to clean them up. Well, Mesh, you know that I only use ZBrush for cleanup work mainly on stuff that I do in photogrammetry. And you can't do photogrammetry in ZBrush, at least, no, you can't. You can't do photogrammetry in ZBrush. So ZBrush can't do the job to begin with. So that's the only reason I take it in to clean it up, is because photogrammetry creates a lot of noise in the mesh. That's just a side effect of using photographs to do a 3D reconstruction. You end up with a lot of noise, and the noise is what I have to remove, and that's why I take it into ZBrush to clean the model up. It's pretty much all I use ZBrush for these days. Thank God I didn't have to pay for the software the studio do. It's an expensive piece of software to just do cleanup work in. You don't have to. You can use any 3D program to do cleanup though. You don't have to use ZBrush. Shark says, started on Max, did Maya for 3 years. Now I'm back on Max at work and Maya at home. I prefer Max. Not that there's anything wrong with any 3D program, whether it's Maya, Blender, Cinema 4D, they're all very good. But I've always used Max, always, ever since uni days. We were trained on Max at university, and then I went into design, so I did web stuff. So I didn't use any 3D software. But then I used Max when I went into games development. Then I used Max when I was in film, and now I use Max in ArchViz. So Max. Miss Fusion says, just giving you a hard time. I can't ZBrush at all. I wish I could. The program is very powerful. ZBrush is as far as a sculpting 3D program goes, is the best. It's the interface that's terrible, and it's because Pixologic are a French company and they have their own way of doing everything. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love French and the way that they have the most beautiful design sense on the planet. French population, French people, but that interface, wow, that's the worst thing I've ever come across. ZBrush's interface, wow. Paz says, start on Max, still on Max. Good to hear. Just like me. I started with Max and I'm still on Max too. I've been using Max now for more than 15 years. Where did the time go? Smurfberry says, Maya equals do everything manually. Smurfberry's using Maya. Galen, it's good to see you, buddy. How are you? Galen is a Blender user. Says Blender equals do everything manually except the way you want to do it. Oh, Galen. Galen's another streamer too, guys, so I encourage you guys to check him out when he is streaming on Twitch. And Galen uses Blender as his 3D preferred program. Sniper Girl says, yeah, the interface of ZBrush is pure cancer. I agree. I concur 100%. It is pure cancer. It is one of the worst interfaces I have ever used, and I have used a lot of 3D software, guys, over my career. And I can say ZBrush, the interface in ZBrush is the worst I've ever used. Program is great. Interface is a nightmare. I really wish they'd upgrade the interface. I don't see them doing it though. They're French. They'll do what they do what they want when they want. Okay, the camera's moving back out here because I have this extra keyframe. I'm just going to remove that. Shark says, you should have seen my face on my first day opening up Max after 3 years of not using it. It all came back very quickly though. Yeah, I'm the same. It'll be interesting actually when we finish this project and we move on to the next one and I go back into Mari, because I've been using Painter for so long and I haven't used Mari for quite a while. It'll be interesting to see how I go remembering how to use that program. So yeah, that'll be a challenge for me during the next project, trying to remember how to use Mari again. But generally it does come back pretty quickly once you start using it. Galen says, but also familiar with Maya and trying to do a frontal lobotomy so I can use ZBrush. Yeah. I actually thought that remember to Autodesk make a sculpting program as well, so you don't have to use ZBrush. There is the Autodesk alternative called Mudbox. And I thought that Autodesk were going to kill that program off, but they did do an update to it not long ago, and they added some really cool features like dynamic tessellation and that sort of thing, which really help speed up workflow and when you're working and doing sculpting. So it looks like Autodesk are going to keep Mudbox going, which is good to hear. Mesh Fusion says, why ZBrush instead of 3D Coat? 3D Coat's another program, yeah. For cleanup, I heard it's phenomenal retopology tools and is relatively cheap. No, that's true. 3D Coat is very good. I've never actually used it though. I've never used 3D Coat, but it is supposed to be good and it is much cheaper than ZBrush. But again, if you want to do that sort of thing, you can get a subscription to Mudbox, and I think that's only like $10 a month. Even though you guys know I hate subscriptions, you never own the software. You can get a subscription to Mudbox for $10, I think, a month, which is reasonable, I guess. Paz says, I think I have 700 scripts and plugins for Macs and still up with MCG. If you need some, Phil, I can send you. Maybe. Scripts and plugins are always useful. I don't tend to use them as much as I used to when I was doing game dev stuff. Now, ArchViz stuff, I don't tend to need them too much. There's a whole website devoted, I think, ScriptSpot. There's hundreds of scripts you can download from ScriptSpot as well for Macs and Maya and all the Autodesk products. Some of them are really useful, really helpful. Galen says, Blender also has a built-in sculpt with dynamic tessellation, but it isn't quite as powerful as the alternatives. Well, that's really cool. I didn't know that about Blender because Max doesn't. Max doesn't have dynamic tessellation and sculpting. But Mudbox does, and ZBrush also does now. Snubby says, I think I have a pro version of 3D Coat. Couldn't tell you the last time I actually used it. It is supposed to be very good. A lot of people do like 3D Coat. And it is much cheaper than buying ZBrush. But you can use, like I said, if you're short of cash and you don't even want to spend too much money, like you only need it for a few months, then you can subscribe to Autodesk and get Mudbox for $10 a month. I think it's still $10 a month. Galen says, sad thing about ZBrush is I actually own a license but have yet to use it more than 40 hours since I got it. Yeah, I'm the same, but thankfully I didn't pay for my license, the studio did. So I'd be pissed off because I don't use ZBrush a lot at all either. And I only use it for cleanup stuff. And it's certainly not worth, however, I think it's like $800 or $900 to buy ZBrush just to do cleanup. No, that's insane. You'd only buy it if you use it a lot. Really, you should only buy it if you use it a lot. And occasionally we do use it for other things in the studio, so that's why they pay for the license. Shark says Blender is pretty insane considering it's free. Yeah, it is. I agree. Blender is an amazing 3D program that is free. Free. Nada. You pay nothing. So it's a really great 3D program. I do want to remind you guys though too, if you're a student or a teacher, and if you have a student email address, you can get a free 3-year license from Autodesk for either Max, Maya, and a lot of other software that Autodesk develop, like AutoCAD, things like that. They give a free 3-year license to people if you're a student and you have an email address, if you're a student or a teacher. So keep that in mind too. Anyone watching that is a student or a teacher, you can get that software for free for 3 years. You just can't create anything commercially with it. If you want to make commercial stuff though, Blender is a great 3D program and it's completely free. So That dude Henry, thanks for popping into chat. Good to see you. How are you? Says 2.8 Blender seems awesome. Yeah, Blender, they've made a lot of changes to it. It is looking really awesome now. Actually, I was reading that YouTube put a copyright strike on Blender's YouTube channel, so no one could watch Blender videos on YouTube. According to YouTube, it was some error, but the Blender YouTube website got a copyright strike against it, and YouTube stopped anyone from watching any videos on the Blender YouTube channel. It came up with something saying you can't watch this in your country or something. So that's gone down really well. What are YouTube doing? What is going on with Google at the moment? Mesh Fusion says, same, I own ZBrush since 4R4 and only used it for maybe 5 hours. Tablet, quick work, not going to bother trying to sculpt with a mouse. Yeah, no, if you want to do any sculpting, you really should use a pen and a tablet. It's much easier. Paz says, Blender change every week. Well, that's good if they want to update it. If they're updating it that quickly, then that's a good thing. Although I found that Substance Painter, they update that way too often. It's annoying because, I mean, it's a huge update and they update it. Well, last year they were updating it way too much. Substance Painter, that is, by Algorithmic. They seem to have slowed it down a bit now, which is good. Sniper Girl says, agree about Blender. Although, honestly, last version of Blender I used was like 1 point something. If you're using Max or Maya, then that's probably why you haven't used Blender in a while. Galen says Fusion 360 is free without student credentials. Oh, okay, cool. Check that out. So there you go. Check out Fusion 360 as well. Mesh Fusion says Blender even has a cheap plugin for like $30. They're probably every close to Marvelous Designer in terms of capabilities for creating anything cloth related, mainly clothes, but can do pillows and such as well. Well, there you go. Although do remember, if you're using Max or Maya, the cloth tool is built into those programs. You guys saw me, that were watching my streams a few weeks ago, saw me use it to do cloth inside the building here in Max. And you can make garments with it as well. Garment Maker or something is the tool inside of Max to make garments using cloth. Galen says, yeah, I saw something about that. Blender Foundation. Yeah, Blender Foundation. And MIT as well. They blocked all the videos for MIT and the Blender Foundation on YouTube. YouTube says it's a mistake. Maybe it's a mistake. I don't know. You guys know how I feel about YouTube at the moment with all the crap that they've been doing to their content creators. But don't get me started on that, as Sniper Recco would say. Don't get Phil started on YouTube. That dude Henry, thank you for the follow. I do appreciate it. Guys, when you follow my channel, say thank you, that dude Henry, for the follow. Mesh Fusion says Blender has good cloth sim built in, but there's a Marvelous Designer type of plugin as well. Oh, okay. Galen says there's a cloth sim built into Blender, but it has its limitations. The one that built into Max is pretty good. I'm assuming the one in Maya is pretty good too, if you want to do cloth simulation. Mesh Fusion says Blender has had cloth and fluid for a long time. Well, Max has only just recently got fluid, so that's pretty cool. Fluid simulation has only been added in Max in the last, since version, I want to say 2018. Could be 2017. But fluids are now in Max as well. Sniper Girl says Phil does 3D, no clue. It's YouTube. I mean, they allowed an anti-LGBT people to post ads on LGBT content. They're doing messed up things for a while. Really? I hadn't heard about that, Sniper Girl, that they're allowing anti-LGBTQ people to post on an LGBTQ content. That stinks. YouTube have got to get their act together. They're punishing small creators for not allowing them to monetize their videos because of the actions of a few large people on YouTube behaving badly. So YouTube decided to punish everyone for it. Way to go, YouTube. Now I hear about this LGBTQ thing. That doesn't impress me either. And like I said, I was reading about the Blender Foundation and MIT having their videos blocked for no apparent reason. Thanks, YouTube. Another ace move there at YouTube. And actually, I was reading too that there's a big streamer on YouTube, Linus Tech Tips. I don't watch him, but he posted a video promoting him going live on Twitch, and YouTube gave him a copyright strike for spam. Which is fair enough. It's in their terms and conditions. You can't spam another service on their service. So yeah, he got a copyright strike for posting a video saying going live on YouTube, going live on Twitch. So YouTube didn't like that. Galen says also YouTube is starting to crack down on people posting videos that promote other platforms. Sorry, Galen, I just noticed your message there. Like post a short YouTube video saying I'm going live on Twitch or whatever, yeah. So be careful if you're a Twitch streamer and you have a YouTube channel. Don't post that you're going live on Twitch because YouTube will give you a copyright strike. They'll say that you're spamming. It's against their spam rules. Sniper Girl says, reposted it without bad language. Your message was posted due to conflicts with the channel's moderation settings. Ostry9, is it Ostry? Thank you for the follow, Ostry. I do appreciate it. Sorry, I just caught the message there in Twitch chat. I'm a bit slow. But thank you, Ostry, for following the Phil Does 3D channel. I appreciate it. Smurpery says, wow, Max didn't have fluid sim until that. Yeah, Max had no fluid simulation until last year. Max 2017, I think it was. But it does now. Paz says, personally, I really like Mass Effects for cloth. Very powerful and easy. Mass Effects, yep. Mesh Fusion says the only thing that Blender really lacked for the most part for a while was N-Gon support. You had to use only quads or tries until version 2.6 or something like that. Everybody loves the N-Gons. Maybe 2.56, Mesh says. Sniper Girl says, Phil Does 3D with religious advertisements talking about the majority of homosexuality in the Bible. Wow. It was kind of messed up that they did that. It was really messed up. I hadn't heard about that, Sniper Girl. Well, that's another cross for YouTube. You guys know I haven't been updating my YouTube channel for a while, since YouTube made those changes and screwed over all the content creators. Occasionally I'll upload stuff. I'll upload this cinematic when we finish it to YouTube, but yeah. Galen says, if you get a strike like that from YouTube, you can't go live on YouTube. Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's news to me because I don't stream on YouTube. Everybody who wants to stream streams on Twitch because we all know Twitch is the best place to be if you want to be a streamer. It has the nicest people. And I have to say, I have never streamed on YouTube Live, even though I can. I like Twitch. As an affiliate, I had to sign a contract saying I would be exclusive to Twitch for at least 24 hours and I can't upload the same content to YouTube, which is fine because I like Twitch. Twitch treat their content creators well. YouTube treat their content creators like rubbish. But I didn't know about that, Galen, that if you got a strike, you couldn't go live on YouTube. Smurpery says, how do you not have an N-Gon? How do you not have N-Gon support? Paz says, Smurpery Barbecue, Phoenix 3D S Max is love. Mesh says, yeah, it's kind of messed up at Smurpery Barbecue, but thankfully Blender has N-Gon support now. Well, there you go, you got it now. It's the important thing. And look, Nightbot just, I'm sure that little bot listens to what I'm saying because it just posted a link to my YouTube channel there. Mesh Fusion says, the thing I wish Blender had more than anything was a proper radial array tool like Modo, so you can do a radial array. Galen says, yeah, Mesh Fusion says, have to add an empty mesh, add an array modifier, and choose the empty mesh to rotate the empty. Smurfberry says, I wish Mudbox had radial symmetry. Everybody wishes everything, don't they? There's always something missing from the program you use that you wish that they would incorporate. It's usually something from another competing 3D program. I'm just dragging this out a little bit more because I want to move it over a little bit. Let's drag it out just a little bit more. Move it over just a little bit more. It should be good. Because I want my camera to rotate around here. So if we jump back into our cinematic viewport, so I'm going to deselect that. Move back to the beginning of our timeline. Our Smurfery says 3D code has radial symmetry. Jelly Smurfery says, Galen says it's just I found that the empty method doesn't always work for me. And Mesh Fusion says Moto's radial array is so quick it makes much more sense. I'm just going to scrub through my timeline here so we can look at our camera. Hold on the gate, move through the gate. It takes about 5 seconds till we get to here. And then from here to about 8 seconds, I want to move a bit further along our timeline, or along our rail I should say. So I'm just going to close this up. Select our rail and move our camera. To about there. Add keyframe. You're back, Sniper. I never know you left anyway. I never know you'd gone, Sniper. Good to see you back. What I missed? Sniper, you missed the ZBrush ramp portion of the stream. That's exactly right. You missed that ZBrush ramp and you missed the YouTube rant as well. So you missed the ZBrush and the YouTube rants. Now you behave yourself, camera rail. Every time it's Sniper says, Mesh Fusion says 9 PM Eastern every Monday and Tuesday for ZBrush rant. Same fill time, same fill place. That's right. If you want to hear a good ZBrush rant or a good YouTube rant, you come to me. Mesh Fusion says he did show the kitchen and bathroom finally. That's right. And you missed it, Sniper Echo, because you weren't here. You finally, the stream finally got to see that immaculate, amazing kitchen and bathroom that I made for the building. That I'm never going to show in the cinematic because it's just an extra special thing for just you guys watching me live. Okay, let me look at my timeline here. Let's scrub through our camera again. From the beginning, we're paying attention to the left-hand side, which is our cinematic camera, not this one, which is our perspective. We're going to move through behind the trees. That's right, Paz. So we move through our gate. And then we continue to move through and our camera moves over a little bit. Until we get to here. And I'm going to select the actual camera. In fact, just let me scrub back through our timeline until we get to here. I want to set a keyframe on our camera here. So I'm going to press S to set those keyframes. Now we can move along, keep moving along our camera rail. And as we move through to here, just going to move along my keys a little bit. Mesh Fusion says headlights. Sniper Echo says, I see YouTube blocked all videos by the Blender network because they want them to monetize the... Oh, that's the reason, yeah. I was talking about that with the guys just before, about them blocking videos, Blender videos and MIT videos as well. See what you miss when you're not here, Sniper Echo? You miss all the good talk. I'm going to select my camera and I'm going to rotate it around. Again, we're paying attention to the cinematic in the left, not what I'm doing in the right. I have a split screen like this so that I can keep my cinematic camera always on screen while I make changes in my perspective here. I'm just going to rotate my camera around a little bit so that we're sort of more centered on the garden path. And we'll set a keyframe. Now let me just scrub through my timeline back to the beginning. So we start with our camera for 1 second holding on the front of the gate, and then the camera will start to move through the gate. Until we get through the gate, and then our camera will start to pan over a little bit to center up our path. And then we're going to hold for 2 seconds to the end of the 10-second shot. So I'm just going to just play this on a loop, and we'll let it play through. Sniper says my custom render farm setup had an issue I had to get sorted. Okay, well that's fair enough then. That's okay. You're forgiven, Sniper Echo. I've just set it to auto repeat here, so I don't have to keep hitting the play button. Hold for 1 second. A 4-second move through the gate, and then a 4-second move pan to center up the garden path, and then a 2-second hold. Again, I'm going to be setting up lots of cameras. I'm going to render out all the footage, but I'm not going to use everything probably. I want to have more footage than I need when we start making our cinematic. So you'll find that I am going to set up, I'm warning you guys now, I am planning on setting up a lot of different camera angles or different camera shots, even if we don't use them in the final cinematic. We just have the option then if we want to, or if we want to pad out a section, make it a bit longer, we've got the footage or the cameras to work with, the camera shots, extra camera shots to work with if we need them. Because it's no big deal setting up cameras and then even if we don't end up using that camera shot. We'll see how we go. But again, that's why every shot is 10 seconds long, which is a very long time for any sort of camera shot. I'm not planning probably on using 10-second shots everywhere. I'm going to be cutting them back. But I want to render out a 10-second shot, so I got a good piece of footage to work with, so I can pick the bit that I like the best when we start putting it together in Premiere. Paz says render farm nice. How many buckets? Paz is asking. Sniper says I should really use cloud for it, I guess. Most likely we'll move the setup when I get it working solid. Yeah, cloud rendering is a good way to go. Instead of having to do it all in your local render farm, doing it in the cloud, you can get it done really quickly. Why does Nightbot keep spamming that link? I'm going to have to look at that. Sorry about that. Sorry about Nightbot being a spam. Smurfery says that laptop used to be state-of-the-art. Smurfery, better than the machines we had in class. Sniper Echo says got an 8 GPU 1080 setup currently. What's pretty good? An 8 GPU. You've got 8 1080 GPUs, Sniper. 8? That's pretty good. Smurpery says, few years later, total dog. Mesh Fusion says, bet you can have a nice electricity bill, Sniper Wrecker. Yeah, I bet you are too. All those 1080s sucking down all that juice. Okay, I think this camera is okay. We've got our camera now moving through the gate and then centering up our path at the end of the animation and then doing a hold for 2 seconds. Mesh says Sniper has all the money. Sniper Wrecker says I got all Europe's 1080 GPUs. You're the reason no one else can buy GPUs, Sniper Wrecker. You're buying them all up there in Ireland. Paz says, okay, that's a good amount of GPUs. There's talk of NVIDIA releasing the next GPU, they're calling it the 1180 now or 2080, whatever. They haven't chosen a name, or NVIDIA haven't told people what they're going to call it. But there's speculation they're going to be releasing that at the end of next month. I personally don't see it. I think NVIDIA will wait a little bit longer because they're the fastest graphics card on the market at the moment, NVIDIA, so they have no incentive to release anything new. They don't need to. Just like Intel, they can afford to, hold off and take their time before they release something new because people still want to buy their GPUs at the moment anyway. So, but there is rumours are starting to fly that there's a new NVIDIA card coming out soon. $1180 Miss Fusion says $1180. That's right. I heard $1180 in 2080. We'll see. We'll see what they settle on. Okay, I think the camera's okay. I don't think there's anything I need to change. This is just sort of like as if a person's walked through the gate. That's our first shot entering the actual garden path. So that looks good. Let's do a save all because we don't want to lose what we've done. Sniper Echo says, nah, I got access to a small portion of a big VFX Studios setup. I wish I had 8 of those. Alrighty. I think we might leave it there for today, guys. We've got a bit done. We've set up another 2 cameras. So now we're actually inside of the garden path. We can start setting up some interesting cameras for following the garden path or pans across the garden path, or we'll see how we go next week. So on Monday next week when I'm back next at 5 p.m. Pacific in the US, we will pick things up from where we left them here and keep setting our cameras up for our cinematic. Eventually we'll get to the building, eventually. There's a long garden path here first though. But I do want to thank you guys and girls very much though for hanging out with me and for watching. I want to thank Sniper Girl and Mesh Fusion for the subscriptions. You are awesome and I do appreciate that. I want to thank you guys and girls that followed the channel today as well. You are also awesome and thank you for the follow. Remember, if you're not sure when I'm live, my schedule doesn't change. It's every Monday, Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time in the United States. You can look at that graphic there, which is in my panels below my stream. That'll be a countdown to the next stream in your time zone. Remember to join the Phildust 3D Discord server as well by typing !Discord in Twitch chat or clicking on that blue graphic you see in my panels. That'll give you an invite link to join Discord. If you want to know what you get for being a sub, you can click on those graphics you see there, which are in my panels. That'll tell you all the information you need to know there about sub benefits and subscribing. And remember, you can always follow me on Twitter at Phildust3D because I always post when I go live to Twitter. So if all of that isn't enough for you, you can follow my Twitter account and you'll get a notification when I go live because I post on Twitter. You're quite welcome, Mesh Fusion. Thank you guys and girls for being here and for hanging out with me. I hope you all have a great weekend and hopefully I'll see you guys and girls on Monday next week. We'll pick things up. See you guys and girls.